What's up guys, Orain here, and today we're going to take a look at the iPhone XR. What? Yeah, it's an older phone. This phone was released a couple of years ago, and I get questions all the time on whether it's still a good purchase in 2020. So I figured I would do a quick rundown of the pros and cons of the iPhone XR and take a look at it in comparison to the technology that we currently have now in 2020 and see if it's still a good purchase for someone looking for an iPhone. So we're going to kind of break it down. This is not a review, more of a revisit of a 2-year-old phone to see if it's still worth your money now. So let's get right into the video and take a look at the iPhone XR in 2020. So when the iPhone XR first came out in 2018, it was kind of a big deal to a lot of people because it looked like it was going to be Apple's biggest selling phone for a myriad of different reasons. It was low budget and it offered all the same kind of features that you were looking for in an iPhone, but kind of packaged in a budget-friendly iPhone for people. So now that we've gone 2 years removed from that, is it still a budget-friendly iPhone experience that you can buy, considering now that you have the iPhone 11 out and you have newer iPhones coming out around the next couple of weeks to months? So is the iPhone XR still fit in your budget, or should you be looking to purchase one of the newer ones that are coming out? So first we'll take a look at the overall build quality of the iPhone XR itself. It is built like a premium phone. It looks really cool. It feels really good in your hands. It's a thicker phone, but the weight in your hands feels nice. I like weighty phones. I like phones that feel heavy. I'm never one that likes the light, thin ones that don't feel like anything when you're holding them. This phone actually feels substantial in your hands itself. It has a glass front, a glass back with an aluminum frame. And the cool thing about that aluminum frame is it gives it like a matte finish that looks really cool and stands out a lot. Now, there are 6 different colors you can actually choose from. It's a 7000 series aluminum frame, so you're not have to worry about any kind of warping, any kind of bending. And I've had the XR since it came out in 2018, and I'll tell you that this phone has held up to a lot of punishment. I've used it with a case, I've used it without a case, I've reviewed it, I've done troubleshooting on it. I've been using this phone continuously on and off for a really long time, and I don't see any kind of dings or scratches to that extent that would make the phone either not resellable or unusable. I think it's held up really well to my rigorous day-to-day movement of putting it into my pocket, taking it out of my pocket, putting it into my bag. It's just really held up really well, and I was very surprised at the build quality of this phone. And I do appreciate the build quality of this phone because, again, people buy these phones, they're a lot of money. They should last a really long time. 2 years removed from purchasing the iPhone XR, I have no issues with the way the build of the phone was. It stood up really well, and I commend Apple for a really nice quality built device. Now, specification wise, you are looking at an older A12 Bionic processor, and it has 2 high performance cores in that A12 processor that makes it about 15% faster than its predecessor, which was the A11 at the time. And it also has 4 efficiency cores that use up to 50% less power, so you're looking at a better battery life overall. And that A12 processor can actually harness all 6 cores at once if it needs a power boost. So all that to say that the performance on this phone is pretty cool. Actually, you can do a lot of things on this phone at once. It didn't hiccup too much when I was multitasking. I don't really do crazy things on my mobile devices. I surf the internet, I use social media, I watch YouTube videos, I take pictures, I take videos, I do all that, but I'll also say that I leave a lot of applications kind of running in the background at once. I'm not the guy that closes out an application as soon as I use it, so I'm usually multitasking with a couple of different applications running and a couple of different high resource intensive applications running, like YouTube, or a bunch of tabs open in Safari, or my music applications that are running in the background. And I haven't really experienced any kind of hiccups or problems with the performance of this phone in the 2 years that I've had it. So the A12 Bionic chip, with the optimizations that Apple has placed into it, has done a really good job of just spanning the test of time and giving me the ability to multitask without having to worry about my phone kind of crapping out too much. And even with the upgrades to like iOS, where I'm now on the latest iOS 13.3, I believe, I haven't really seen any issues with adding the additional iOS capacity into this phone while still doing my day-to-day stuff that I normally do on the phone itself. So in that retrospect, it kind of held up to, again, the test of time for a 2-year-old phone running the latest software that Apple's released on its newest devices, on their newest chips. It's done a pretty good job of handling iOS while still handling my day-to-day tasks. Now, the display on the iPhone XR measures about 6.1 inches and its resolution is 1792 by 828, and it has 326 pixels per inch, 1.4 million total pixels. And all that to say, it's not an OLED. It's inferior to an OLED. This is an LCD display. It was the biggest drawback of the phone when it was released. I remember when it was announced and released, a lot of people had an issue with Apple putting an LCD display that would only support up to 720p on a phone that it was releasing in 2018. So is a 720p LCD display good in 2020? There's pros and cons to this. So it really depends on where you're coming from initially, and that's always my question. So if you're looking into this and you're worried about the screen, my question to you is, what kind of screen are you coming from currently? If you're coming from a high performance, best screen on the market like a Samsung Galaxy Note or even a newer iPhone, then you may see the differences in the 720 screen for a while. Your eyes will adjust, as they always do. If you're consuming media on this thing over the span of a couple of months, you won't see the difference. But if you're coming right from a really great screen to this screen, then you will see the difference immediately. But over time, your eyes will adjust to the resolution of this particular screen. The screen is the biggest downfall of this phone. It's not the best screen in the world. It's one of the ways they were able to kind of keep the cost down on the iPhone itself. At least that's what Apple says. The screen is the biggest drawback. It's not the greatest screen in the world. It's still pretty bright. It still handles colors pretty well. If you're watching YouTube videos, the blacks are there, the vibrancy of the colors are there, the brightness of the LCD is there, but it's just not as crisp or as clean as you would see on some of the other screens that are currently available or were available on smartphones at the time that this one was released. So LCD, 720p, you're gonna have to kind of make the decision of where you're coming from now. Is the screen really super important to you? If it is, then this may be a deal breaker. If it's not super important, again, your eyes will adjust, and over time you will get used to this as your new reality basically, and kind of get used to this screen. You also have all the same kind of features you would have on your iPhones of new and the better iPhones of old. You have that same unlock using the Face ID to true that front-facing camera that's inside the front of the phone itself. You have your tap to wake features, you have all your gesture features, and the screen is kind of an edge to edge. It does have a little bit of a bezelness going around the side, so it doesn't really bleed over the sides like you would see some of the other iPhone screens, or go fully to the edge of the screen. So it's kind of a full screen, but not necessarily 100% full screen. The screen itself still does look good. Again, the build of this phone was never one of my complaints. Now, battery performance is extremely important, and I can tell you that the XR for me gave me extremely great battery at the beginning, in the middle, and it dwindled just a little bit over the last couple of months that I've been using it a lot more, but it's still a pretty great battery life. I can still get more than a day worth of battery on it, but bear in mind, I'm not a heavy user on this phone itself. I do only like check emails, send messages, and watch an occasional YouTube video, but I do believe a heavy user can get a full day's worth of battery with the iPhone XR, and it charges super fast. You put it on a charger, it's not a quick charger or anything, but the battery life though was never one of my complaints with this phone. Even when I was using it regularly 2 years ago when it first came out, I really had great battery life with it. It's definitely going to give you a full day's worth of battery. You probably have to charge it every night if you're a high heavy user. If you're not high heavy user, then you can probably get a day and a half. And if you're connecting it to chargers in between your stops during the day, then you're probably going to be able to stretch that out even longer. Battery life is really great on this phone, and the LCD screen definitely helps that out. So if you're looking for a good battery life, this one's a thumbs up. So now when it comes to the camera, the iPhone XR uses a single lens camera system. The XR is using the same f1.8 12 megapixel wide lens camera that it had in the XS and XS Max, and it features a 32% larger sensor, bigger pixels to allow more clarity and crispness in the photos itself. Even when lighting is a little bit poor, the camera is not fantastic. It's not terrible. It falls right into the middle. I think it's a really all right camera for what you're going to do with it. If you're taking really, really intense, detailed, high quality photos, this may not be the camera for you. But if you're just taking day-to-day pictures, or pictures of your family, or pictures of an event, or just snapping a picture here and there, this camera is definitely going to work. It really is an all right camera. It shows a lot of detail. It shows a lot of vibrancy. It doesn't mute the colors too much, or it doesn't wash out the image too much as well. It really allows for a lot of the natural color to come through when you're taking pictures. It does function okay in low lights, but it doesn't really have like a dark mode per se that's going to give you the best quality pictures in low light settings. It's an alright middle of the road camera that you're getting on this device itself. So again, if you're looking for something that's extremely professional, it may not be for you, but if you're just the average user that's taking pictures on a day-to-day basis of yourself, posting them to social media, or just keeping them in your catalog, this camera is going to work just fine. Now, it's also IP67 water and dust resistant, which means that it's basically impervious to dust and it can withstand being immersed in water that's like 3.3 feet deep for about 30 minutes. And it comes in, like I said, about 7 different colors. And right now you can get it for under $500. So it currently is in that budget range. I know $500 is considered budget. The world that we live in is weird, but yes, it's under $500 currently, and it's considered a budget phone. But we'll circle back to the question on whether you should purchase it in 2020. And again, that question comes with the caveat of where you're currently coming from and what you're currently looking for. If you're looking for an iPhone experience that won't break the bank, then the iPhone XR definitely is on the table for you. If you can definitely deal with the camera and the screen, 2 of the drawbacks to this phone, then everything else is going to offer you the iPhone experience you're looking for at the budget that you're looking for as well. But if you're coming from a newer iPhone where you just love the screen, you love the camera, you love the wide angle views, you love the telephoto lens, all that stuff, then this may not be the device for you. But if you're looking for a budget iPhone at a great price that still gives you the ability to rock iOS 13.3. Apple's going to be supporting this phone for a little while because the iPhone 6s still supports iOS 13. So this one is not going to drop off anytime soon. So you're going to be looking at consistent updates from Apple, and they're pretty good with that. And the A12 chip is a really great performing chip. So I don't think you have to worry about performance anytime soon as well. Battery life is pretty awesome, especially if you're a minimal to medium user. If you're an extensive user, then you may experience less battery and more battery degradation over time, but it's still a really great choice if you're looking for a budget iPhone that can handle and work with the newer iPhone experiences. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Are you currently in the market for an iPhone XR? Is that why you're checking out this video? Comment down below. If you already have an iPhone XR and you either like it or hate it, please share your thoughts and comments down below. It may help somebody that's looking to purchase one currently. Definitely do appreciate it. And again, as we are a tech support channel, if you have any support issues with your current iPhone XR or optimization questions, go ahead and share those down below as well. I'll include a comment down below in the video with my social media information. Follow me on Twitter. You can tweet me your support questions and we definitely try to handle them. Thanks so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button down below, and while you're down there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button with that bell for notifications so you don't miss when we release some cool, helpful content like this one. Until next time, guys, make sure to check out some of the other videos we have on the channel. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Stay safe out there, and as always, peace out.